Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. It's time for another new flower pot themed design to add to all the ones I've already released so far this year. And this time, it's for St. Patrick's Day! These lucky shamrocks are all sat in a beautiful pot of gold with a lucky horseshoe along the bottom. You can go really all out for St. Patrick's Day and embrace the glitter and the rainbows. I'm not sure if my camera's really picking it up, but I've used 2 different types of glitter card for the background of my frame and 3 different shades of gold for the pot. So this is so sparkly and beautiful. I love how it turned out. And if you're not so sure about making it into a shadow box, this design is also perfect for putting on greetings cards. Here's an example of a card I've made with that same design. I'll bring it in a bit closer so you can see. I built up a background in Design Space to add in the rainbow, the cloud, and some grass along the bottom. And then I duplicated some of the little shamrock shapes to add to the bottom. So you can see whether you're making it small to go on a card or big to go in a shadow box, the design cuts absolutely beautifully and you'll end up with a gorgeous St. Patrick's Day project you can really be proud of. To get the free SVG for the St. Patrick's Day flower pot design, head to craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs or click the link in the description of this video. Let's get started. After you've downloaded the zip folder from my website, you'll need to unzip it before you can upload the SVG into Design Space. If you're not sure how to do that, head to craftwithsarah.com/help for a tutorial. There's also tutorials on that page for how to upload SVGs into Design Space, including which file to choose in the download folder. So if you're new to uploading SVGs, check out that webpage at craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut from the list of options on the screen. Or if you've got a silhouette or a scanning cut, that link also has separate instructions on how to make layer cardstock designs on your type of cutting machine. It's a brand new resource added to my new website and I'll be adding more videos throughout the year. The link again is craftwithsarah.com/help. Once you've inserted the SVG onto your project, there's really not a lot you actually need to do other than perhaps to resize the design. It comes in at a fairly small size, which would be suitable for going on greetings cards, but of course you can make it bigger or smaller if you want to. To resize, make sure the padlock icon above the width and the height box is closed. If yours is open, then click it to close it. You can then type either the width or the height, press enter on your keyboard, and the other side will change in proportion so everything stays looking beautiful. I'm going to cut mine at around about 7.5 inches tall. When you're happy with the size, go ahead and press make over on the top. I'm not going to worry about saving it, and then that will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop down here. And then if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about to use up less space on your cardstock. For instance, I could maybe tuck that in there. I'm not sure that's actually helpful or not. I don't think it is. Let's keep it back where it was originally. It was worth a try. You would need to change the paper size for every single colour if you want to change it. So go ahead and do that. Get all your sheets looking exactly as you want them to. Then press continue to connect to your Cricut machine and get everything cut out from cardstock. If you're brand new to cutting cardstock with your Cricut and you'd like a step-by-step guide of the next steps, again, check out craftwithsarah.com/help, choose your type of machine from the list, and then there are separate videos on there on how to cut cardstock with all the different types of Cricut cutting machine, plus a silhouette and a scanning cut. Here are all the pieces of my St. Patrick's Day flower pot all cut out. I've laid all the bits one on top of the other, following the assembly guide that's included in the download folder to make sure I'm happy with all my colours and that I haven't missed any of the little pieces along the way. I'll be putting this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Barely Art glue. I really like this because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some glues can do. For that same reason, I also like Kalal, although Kalal is a solvent glue so it does have a little bit of a smell to it, whereas the Barely Art glue doesn't. I live in the UK and get both of these on Amazon. To add some depth and dimension to the design, you'll need some foam squares. These ones are quite small, which means they're going to fit in all of the little places of my design, but if yours are bigger, you can cut them smaller with a pair of scissors. As with all my layered designs, we want to start at the bottom and work upwards. So I'll move these pieces apart now. I'm going to try and keep them roughly in the right order, seeing as I've already gone to all the effort of putting them in place. And this one is very simple. There aren't a lot of pieces to this design, which makes it nice and quick and easy to make. We've got the very bottom bit here, and then on top of that is this darker green piece. This will be stuck on with foam squares, so turn it upside down and start adding your foam squares to the back. Try and get a little bit of foam in any sticky out areas, such as the edges of the shamrocks up here, and also the leaves in this area here. Put some around all the edges, like this. And then you'll also want some in the middle bit here and up here, because if there's nothing in the middle of large areas of card, you can find that the weight of the card, especially when everything else is stuck on top, can cause it to go downwards like this instead of being nice and flat and 3D. Adding your foam squares in the middle stops that happening. For the stem down the middle, I'm going to cut some of my foam squares smaller. Though actually looking at it, I've already got some I've cut from another project. They cut really easily with scissors, so you can just go down some of them to make them small. If you are putting foam squares into the stem, which I do recommend because it will give you a better overall look, just make sure that none of the foam goes over the edges, otherwise you'll be able to see it when it's all turned around and stuck together, and we don't want to be able to see that foam. Next, peel all of the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Bring in the bottom piece, and then this one goes on top. You can line it up against the bottom of the flower pot and the top of the shamrock. It tries to go a little bit out of position because of the delicate stem, so just be careful while you're doing it. Gonna line it up, and then just gently drop down and let go. That way, if I'm not happy with how it's looking, I can pick it up and move it a little bit because it hasn't actually stuck yet. For example, I'm not quite happy with that. That's looking better. When you're happy with the positioning, push down to stick. Next up, we'll add the two little shamrocks in the middle of the outside pieces. And these will also be done with foam square. I'm just going to put a foam square straight in the middle of those, rather than try and get it on the back of the little pieces. These are the same, so it doesn't matter which one goes on which. Like that. Then next up, we've got another big piece, and this will be done with foam squares again. The reason that we did the little shamrocks first is that this one's going to overlap a little bit, so we just wanted to make sure we got those on first. I've now run out of little tiny pieces to go down the stem. That's a good opportunity to show you how easy it is to cut these foam squares. You can just go straight down them and now cut in half. Cutting them's easy. Trying to stick them on when they're this small and peel the tops off of them when they're this small. That's the challenging bit. Okay, that's my foam squares on. Now I'm going to peel the tops off again to reveal the stickiness underneath. Bring that back in, and then line up. Didn't do a very good job there. I'm going to start again. That's better. Gently drop down, check you're happy, and then push to stick. Okay, now we've got the two extra layers for the top. Both of these will be done with foam squares. Don't have to be exact, just get it roughly in the middle. And then the smaller one Again, sort of roughly in the middle. That's the shamrocks done. Now we can move on to the flower pot along the bottom, or the pot of gold really, more than a flower pot. First up is the piece with the handles on the edges, and this will be glued on. You can see I've gone for gold card because it's reflecting the light from my camera lights. Gotta be gold for St. Patrick's Day, though, right? Okay, next up is the piece without the handles, and this one will be done with foam squares. Just gonna check I've got this the right way. Yeah. It's not quite symmetrical. So I just wanted to be absolutely sure before I started sticking. That goes on there. Looking lovely. Next up is this piece, which is a glue layer. I've got another shade of gold. I actually managed to find 3 shades of gold for this. I thought I was going to have to use yellow for the horseshoe, but I found the tiniest little scrap of a different coloured gold and thought, right, it's got to be shiny. So that's what I've gone for. There's that one. The only issue with putting metallic on metallic with glue is it doesn't always want to stick very well. Next up is the piece to go along the top. And for this one, it's up to you if you want to glue it or use foam squares. I'm going to use some foam squares, I think. That was a tough decision though. I did consider both options. There's that one. And then lastly, the horseshoe along here, which will be glued. It's a little bit thin, especially if you've made the design smaller. So just try and get some little blobs of glue in and around the circles, and then line it up so the circles match the cutouts on that layer underneath. There, you can see my 3 shades of gold. It might not be that obvious on camera, but they do look quite different in real life. And there's all the depth in those shamrocks at the top. And that's my St. Patrick's Day flower pot, all done and ready to go in my frame. Before I show you how my finished project turned out, take a look at these other St. Patrick's Day layered designs which are available at craftwithsarah.com. There's a mixture of free designs here, as well as ones that are available to purchase, or if you're a Craft Clubhouse member or part of our new monthly or yearly membership, you can download these designs using your brand new design credits. Here's how to find them all on the website. Here's how to find those additional St. Patrick's Day designs. First, it's easiest if you log into your account, so press the login button over here on the top right and get signed in. If you don't have an account, you can register for free. You will need to be registered in order to download any of my free designs. Then press products over on the top navigation and that will take you to this page. To filter, so that you only see the St. Patrick's Day designs instead of everything, look down until you find the occasions filter on the left side. Click into that and then look for St. Patrick's Day and click to tick the box. That will then update the filter results to just show you the St. Patrick's Day designs. If you're logged in to a Craft Clubhouse account, many of these will be able to be downloaded at no extra cost as they are included in your Clubhouse account. Or if you're part of our new monthly or yearly membership, you'll be able to download many of these designs with your monthly design credits. However, if you're not a Clubhouse member and you're not on the membership and you're just here for the free designs, that's absolutely fine. You can filter to just show those by clicking into categories in the filter and then scroll down until you find freebies, tick the box, and that will update everything to just show you the free designs. When you're logged into your account, instead of this login to download button, you'll see a coral-coloured download button that lets you get the file going straight to your computer. You can also click to read the matching tutorial on how to make the files. I've now finished and framed my beautiful shamrock design, and here is all of the glitter. I felt like the flower pot design wasn't really standing out enough against the glitter on that rainbow, so I used the offset feature in Design Space to add a white border around the edge, which I think really helps make it pop out and be really nice and obvious on there. In case you can't tell, I'm not quite used to which way round I need to move things so that you can see it better on the camera, but I'm getting a little bit better. You'll have to let me know after you watch a few more videos if you think I am improving. I always get my lefts and my rights mixed up. So anyway, here's my big design in the shadow box, and I cut a smaller one too to show you how it looks on a greetings card. This is so pretty, and I love how these flower pot designs can be cut small and they still cut beautifully on the Cricut or other types of cutting machine. This is a 5x7" card, and it just looks so cute, and I love the background. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video on how to make the St. Patrick's Day flower pot design. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. See you next time. Bye!